Good morning, fourth grade parents. This is Miss McElhenney, and I'm here today to walk you through our third quarter pathway for literacy. We had our first pathway back in the first quarter. Second quarter, we did not do one because there were so many new standards that the children need to learn that we just wanted them to be able to focus on the new material. So here we are in the third quarter, and we have been studying the essential question of how you can persevere to overcome challenges. Our text has been focused on the relationship between the early colonists and the Native Americans. So in our pathway, we're going to be focusing on 3 standards. RL 4.5 is explaining the differences between poetry, drama, and prose. Prose is simply your text in your stories that is not written as a play and not written as poetry. The second one, RL 4.7, is making connections between text and then a visual, an audio recording, or a video recording of the text. Those 2 standards deal with fiction text. And the final standard on the pathway is RI 4.6, which is focusing on nonfiction text. And it's comparing and contrasting a first-hand account and a second-hand account of the same topic. This pathway will be due around March 24th. That's not a date that is set in stone. It's just a goal to give them so that they can plan out when the end is going to be. Now, on this pathway, the students are given 4 activities within a standard. So here's the standard, and then here are the 4 activities. They have to choose activities that equal 30 points. So for example, they could do a 10-point, a 10-point, and a 10-point, and that would be worth 30 points. Or they could do the 20-point and then one of the 10-point activities. Okay? After they complete an activity, they sign up for a conference and I meet with them. After I have met with them on all of their activities for that standard, then I'll let them know if I think they're ready for the assessment. Now, any of the activities can be worked on at home if they want extra practice, but the assessment cannot be done at home. The assessment will have to be completed at school. So they'll pick their standard that they want to start at, and then they'll select their activities that they want to do. Now, we have some notes on our pathways. They have a little note here, not yet, because I have not actually introduced this standard yet. So they have been encouraged not to start with the standard because the activities may be difficult because I haven't taught the lesson yet. They have lots of practice with this standard, so this would be a great one to start at. That's why we put the smiley face. 4.7 they could also work on, but we have a glitch on this digital activity, so I told them not to do that one yet. Okay? On the back of their pathway is where they record the dates that they conference with me and any notes that I want to give them of what they need to work on. Okay? Now, a couple items that are sort of like paperwork, organization. In the classroom, on the front board, this is where they sign up for their conference. So they find the activity that they completed, and they would put a sticker underneath it to let me know that they are ready to meet with me. And then when they're ready to have their assessment checked, they'll give that to me. So that is for block 2 and block 3 up front. Okay. Another piece of organization is back here in this tub is where the activities are located that are on paper. So it matches the exact setup of their pathway. So this is the first activity under 4.5. This is the second activity, the third activity, the fourth activity, and then the assessment. You'll notice that the assessments are always blue. That gives myself and other students a visual that the student is working on an assessment and they shouldn't be disturbed and they shouldn't be working with anybody. Some of the activities are digital, excuse me, so they can have a choice. For example, in this activity, they have to watch a reading, an audio reading of a story, then they have to read the actual story and they have to fill out a chart telling what was different between the recording and the actual text. So if they want to fill this chart out on paper, they can get the paper copy, but this is also found digitally in their Google Classroom because some like to keep track of their materials digitally and not have to worry about losing the paper, and they like typing their responses. So they have a choice between digital and paper on those. Some of them, this one, RL 4.5, Bird Came Down the Walk, is on ReadWorks. So if they come back here looking for a paper copy, it reminds them, hey, there's nothing here. It's a ReadWorks assignment. There is one where they have to create a poster. Then when they open this up, the paper for the poster is in there. So back here on the counter is where all of the materials are that have paper copies. Okay. Now, you might wonder, if I'm conferencing with students, what do children do if they need help or they don't understand something? During the pathway, they can work with partners and talk to each other and work in groups, just not on the assessment. But we also have something called exemplars, and on the back cupboards, we have examples of the work. So if you're working on RL 4.7, a simple gift, and you're struggling, but I'm busy meeting with somebody, you can come back here, and I have filled in notes and given you some examples that you can look at to help you with your task. So these are back here. It can help them. I give them tips about what to include, maybe where to find the answers. So the only procedure for using an exemplar is the students are not allowed to bring their paper back with them, and they're not allowed to bring a pencil. So they can come back and look, but then they have to go back to their seat to actually do the work. Okay? All right. So the last thing I want to point out about the pathway is how the pathway is graded. So the activities along here are practice. They're to see how well your child understands the standard and how well they can apply the strategies they learned in class to the standard. So these activities are not graded. These three activities, the assessment, the assessment, the assessment, that will be a score in PowerSchool. It will be an informal grade. Even though it's called an assessment, it's going to be an informal grade because I'm using the information to find out what more I need to help your child with. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Parent Square. And if you check your child's Google Classroom, you will see the activities are posted in there. And feel free to ask your child to bring their pathway folder home. Just make sure they bring it back because they need to have it with them in class every day. All right, I hope this was helpful for you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.